Welcome to Cinepro, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. Our movie begins with a man running in the forest, calling for help because someone is chasing him, wanting to kill him, but the pursuer manages to catch up with him and finishes him off. The next day, we see a lovely family consisting of 4 members: the father named Keith, the mother named Kathleen, the daughter named Amy, and the son named Jeffrey. This family is on a weekend trip in the forest. They have a mobile home where they're staying. The family starts grilling meat and is very happy. Then Amy, who likes to wander alone, goes off to talk to her boyfriend. After finishing the call, her father calls her for lunch, but she says she's not hungry and wants to take a walk. This angers her father, especially since they are on a trip where she's supposed to be happy and participate. But Kathleen explains to him that Amy is growing up and wants to feel independent and do what she wants. At that time, a car arrives with 2 strange-looking men named Mitt and Billy. They ask about a person named Miller and describe him to the family, hoping someone might have seen him or knows something. Miller had not returned home since yesterday, and they were worried about him and went out searching. The father tells them that they haven't seen Miller, but if they find anything, they'll let them know. Meanwhile, Amy arrives, and Mitt asks her if she has seen Miller, but she also says she doesn't know him or has seen him before. Before leaving, they give Jeffrey some chocolate to eat, and he thanks them for their kindness as they depart. Afterward, the family decides to continue their trip to another spot in the forest. They get into the car and drive away. On the way, they encounter Billy and Mitt again. This time, their car's broken down. They're standing in the middle of the road, trying to get help from anyone passing by. Honestly, I started feeling uneasy about these 2. The father also suspects they might be setting a trap for them. Kathleen becomes very concerned, especially when she sees they have a rifle. She asks her husband to turn back quickly, but he reassures her, saying he won't get out of the car until he knows what they want. Mitt tells him that their car broke down in the middle of the road and asks if he can take Billy with him to his house, which happens to be on their way, to get another car. Keith hesitates at first but agrees, saying he understands their concern, especially since they asked for such a favor without even knowing them. He decides to take Billy, but not Mitt. Keith thinks Billy alone wouldn't be able to harm the family of 4. Keith then takes Billy with him. On the way, Keith asks Billy about himself and his life. Billy tells him he lives in his uncle's house and considers him more than a father because he raised him after his family disappeared when he was young. His uncle has 2 daughters, Savannah, who is 23 years old, and Julie, who is 18. Billy describes Savannah as an excellent student, skilled in archery, a cooking enthusiast, and a music lover who enjoys playing the piano. He invites them to visit his family's house that evening to get to know his relatives better. Keith immediately accepts the invitation, but suddenly, without any warning, Jeffrey stabs Billy with a knife until he dies. The bigger shock is that none of them are surprised by what Jeffrey did. It turns out they are used to this. His father, mother, and sister are very happy. They even wear surgical-like clothes, their work attire, and start dissecting Billy's body, eating parts of it. Keith gives Amy Billy's eyes to eat. When they open the freezer to store Billy's parts, they find other parts inside. We discover these are remnants of Miller's body, matching the description Mitt and Billy gave the family earlier. After finishing, the family decides to head to Billy's family's house to spend the night there. Meanwhile, at Billy's house, Savannah is in the kitchen preparing food and calls her father and sister to come eat. During the meal, someone knocks on the door, surprising them as Billy usually has the house keys. Julie opens the door and finds the friendly family knocking. They explain that their car broke down and they walked a long distance in the freezing cold until they met Billy on the road, who told them to come to this house. Julie and her father Neville welcome them. Once inside, Keith asks for a phone to make a call. Julie tells him they only have 1 mobile phone, which Billy currently has. Neville reassures them, saying they can stay the night, and in the morning, Billy will take them to the nearest gas station when he returns. They then have lunch together, and the family praises Savannah's cooking. During the meal, Savannah asks them, since they met Billy, why didn't they come with him in the car instead of walking? This question makes Keith very nervous, but Kathleen saves the situation, explaining that Billy had separated from Mitt, each searching for Miller in different places, and Billy was walking on foot, not in the car. They hear a thumping sound upstairs and ask about its source. Julie explains that it's Mac, one of their family members, a very large man. He comes downstairs to join them for lunch. Meanwhile, Mitt is still in the forest in the freezing cold, his stomach hurting from the poisoned chocolate he ate. He tries to keep himself warm and calls Billy, but his phone is off. He leaves him a voice message, urging him to come quickly as he's freezing. At that moment, a police officer arrives at the scene and offers to drive Mitt. But Mitt refuses because of a bad incident between them in the past that Mitt hasn't forgotten. Back at the house, after the meal, Jeffrey offers them dessert, with the chocolate he has. But Savannah and Neville refuse and thank him. As for Mac and Julie, they eat normally. After that, Neville asks Savannah to play something on the piano for the guests they have. Savannah plays a small song and everyone likes it. Currently, they all go up to sleep. Julie takes Jeffrey to Belly's room to sleep there. Neville takes Keith and Kathleen to the guest room, while Amy will sleep in Savannah's room with her. But Savannah decides to leave the room for Amy and sleep on the couch. But Amy refuses this idea. We return to Keith, who is talking to his wife, telling her that the only obstacle to getting rid of this family is Mac. Jeffrey acted smartly by giving them the chocolate because when it comes time to kill them, they'll be very weak from the poison's effects and won't be able to defend themselves. Kathleen becomes frightened and asks him if he has the gun. He tells her no because he doesn't want his children to learn how to kill people easily. His wife tells him that he shouldn't kill these kids because they're very kind people. Keith tells her that these people live without purpose, are uncultured, and have no aspirations. He says they will simply relieve them. He tells her he will go to see Jeffrey before he does anything reckless. Before leaving, Kathleen takes some pills from her bag because she is very anxious, accidentally dropping one of them and taking it unintentionally. Keith goes to Jeffrey and they agree on the plan. Jeffrey says he'll kill Julie and Mac because they are likely weakened by the chocolate he gave them and will be easy targets. Amy will take care of Savannah in the room, and Keith will handle the old man in the guest room. At this moment, Savannah is with her father, preparing his bed for sleep, and she tells him she's scared of these people and feels they have something sinister behind them. Her father reassures her, saying these people are very kind and will spend the night at their house and leave immediately after. Savannah then goes to sleep, sharing the bed with Amy. However, Amy pulls out a cigarette and smokes, asking Savannah not to tell her father because he might kill her. Amy convinces Savannah to try smoking with her, which she does for the first time in her life. Meanwhile, Julie is in the bathroom, vomiting and feeling very sick due to the chocolate Jeffrey gave them. Mac also feels unwell and wants to use the bathroom, but Julie is inside. Mac goes outside the house to relieve himself, and Jeffrey takes the opportunity to stab him multiple times, causing severe injuries. Mac falls to the ground, and Jeffrey strangles him with a chain to ensure he's completely dead. Savannah hears the commotion downstairs, but Amy tells her it's nothing and attributes the noise to the effects of the cigarettes. Keith goes to Neville's room to kill him, but Neville wakes up to the noise from Mac and Jeffrey downstairs. Neville turns on the light, and Keith kills him with an axe. Keith sees Jeffrey killing Mac and takes him to the guest room. Keith pretends to be upset but secretly praises Jeffrey for his actions, giving him a reward, a piece of Neville's body. Amy is with Savannah and pulls out her knife to kill her, but Savannah accidentally pushes Amy, causing her to fall and stab her own leg with the knife. Savannah tries to help her and asks why she has a knife. Amy says it's just for self-defense in the forest. Savannah, feeling sorry for her, decides not to kill her, realizing Amy is also kind and is being forced by her father to act this way. Savannah goes to the garage to get the first aid kit for Amy but hears strange noises. She grabs a flashlight and follows the sound, discovering Keith and Kathleen coming out of their car. Savannah hides to observe them, especially since they had claimed their car broke down far away. Savannah overhears Kathleen telling her husband to clean the blood off his hands before entering the house. Savannah waits until they enter the house, then decides to inspect the car. She finds Billy's cap inside and continues searching until she opens the freezer, shocked to find 3 dismembered corpses: Mac, Billy, and Miller. Julie exits the bathroom, feeling extremely ill, and goes to her father's room, only to find him dead. She screams, and Keith arrives, silencing her and taking her to the kitchen. Kathleen, Jeffrey, and Amy are there too. Keith asks Kathleen to kill Julie, who is crying uncontrollably. Kathleen hesitates, terrified and unsure, but suddenly, Kathleen was shot with an arrow in her neck. Everyone panics and lies on the ground, fearing they'll be next. Amy is devastated by her mother's death and blames her father for everything, calling his thinking insane and saying he needs treatment. Keith dismisses her concerns, saying the family is useless and deserves to die. Amy realizes Savannah likely killed her father since she's the only one left alive. Savannah sneaks into her room through the window, takes Amy's phone, and calls for help. Jeffrey hears a noise in the room, grabs his knife, and moves toward it. When he opens the door, Savannah strikes him, knocking him unconscious. Keith ties Julie to a chair and forces her to call her sister, but she refuses. He injures her face with a knife and breaks her finger. Savannah hears Julie's cries and threatens Keith with a weapon to release her sister. However, Keith puts the knife to Julie's throat, forcing Savannah to drop her weapon. Keith ties Savannah up as well, begins torturing them, cuts off one of Julie's fingers, and cooks Neville's liver. He forces Savannah to eat the liver, but she refuses. Keith is about to cut off one of Savannah's fingers when she tells him his daughter has been using drugs and even smoked with her. Keith becomes furious, arguing with his daughter about how she could do such a thing. At this time, Savannah can free herself and stabs Case in the eye with a fork. The shock is that he can remove his eye from its place and even eats it. At that moment, Matt arrives with the body and shoots Case, but the bullet hits his arm. Savannah asks him to kill him quickly, but Jeffrey hesitates, and Case manages to take the rifle, and the two start fighting each other. Savannah and her sister manage to free their hands, and Savannah tries to escape. Jeffrey follows her into the kitchen. Savannah then pours very hot water from the pot on him, suffocates him, and kills him. Returning to Case and Matt, Matt is about to kill Case, but Case manages to grab a knife from the ground and stabs him with it. Because the stab was in his head, he dies instantly. At that moment, Julio hits him in the head with a hammer until he dies. Julio then goes to her sister to check on her, but the story doesn't end here. Amy suddenly comes from behind Julio and stabs her in the back with a knife, killing her. At that moment, Savannah gets extremely angry and starts running after Amy to kill her. She runs outside the house, chasing Savannah. Suddenly, a bullet hits her in the middle of her head from a police officer who thinks Savannah is the criminal as she tries to kill Amy. The officer then calls an ambulance to treat Amy's wounds, but he hears a strange sound among the trees. He goes to see what it is, and the shock is that Amy follows him, pulls out a knife, stabs the officer, and kills him. After that, she gets into her father's car, lights a cigarette, plays music, and drives away after setting the whole house on fire. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.